I guess we're ready to go, and here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And we're live. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see. Let's check if this is all right. Looks like we're live and living sound, not living color. No video podcast, but we are in living sound. Welcome everyone over here on Patreon. Today's day is February 19th, 2024. And welcome to another episode of CultureAttack. Once again, right here on Patreon for you to listen and indulge in. I am RubenPrime, as always, with my co-hosts, because I'm never alone. Drew Yari, how you doing, bro?
Ahoy, hoy. I am well rested. I'm here to do this show and talk about whatever it is we're going to talk about. So I am ready for today.
We have a doozy of a show. Um, little wrestling sprinkled in because I mean, we got the Elimination Chamber coming up. That's WWE's premium live event going on in Australia, and we're gonna be up and at 'em
Mm-hmm.
on this coming Saturday, early in the morning, which won't be as difficult. Normally, I'll stay up onto the time for the PLE to start, but um, first time in like forever since WWE did a live event, a pay-per-view, let alone in Australia. And a lot of intrigue, especially with the road to WrestleMania. That's like the one pit stop. And I'm overall looking forward to that. And we'll go over a little bit about current road to WrestleMania, and just our thoughts and everything on the land of wrestling. And yeah, we also got Deadpool 3 or Deadpool Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Uh just talk about the trailer. I saw the trailer. Um it's pretty cool. I have my thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm.
As we know, that's why we're doing this here. And also X-Men 97.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of nostalgia. Um I again have stuff to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
And also we have Robert Downey Jr. We we all know Robert Downey Jr. is cool. Um he had he had said a speech, uh just say, throwing shade at Marvel, Disney,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll talk about that, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, let's get just to get out the way with the land of wrestling, just to because a little bit of development since we did our last show, but not to like circle the drain too much. like overall, did you see the press conference, the WrestleMania press conference? Was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago now.
Hmm.
Um, what are your thoughts on it overall?
Um, it did everything it needed to do. It answered all of our questions. I mean, it did and it didn't, but I think it pretty much answered our questions as to what we're seeing at Mania this year. Um, it was interesting, seeing everything that that happened. The Rock coming out and getting half boos, half cheers, and you know turning heel in the process. Calling the whole Cody crybabies thing and
Hmm.
bringing up the family tree, which I thought it was interesting that you saw Jacob Fatu's name on it.
Yeah,
Um, which I told Justin that. Justin's like, well, it's a big tree. I'm like, yeah, but you know how WWE used to be. WWE's like, well, they're not in our company, so we can't talk about them. It's like, but we're related to them. We can't talk about it.
yeah,
Whereas nowadays, it's just like, it's just, whatever. Your guys are related. Who cares? We might or might not sign this guy, but
right.
you know, all signs point to maybe he might come, but
Yeah,
that's here nor there. But it was good. It was probably better than most episodes of Raw.
yeah,
Just especially that last 30 minutes because I was kind of under the impression that that's what we were getting. But before that, we were getting Rhea coming out to promote Mania and Australia, and then Becky, but pretty much telling us what Rhea's match is going to be with
yeah.
Becky. And then Bianca coming out looking fine. Oof.
Hmm.
Promoting the show she's doing with Montez. Um, and CM Punk on commentary was fun.
Yeah, that was
Seeing
fun.
Big, I miss Biggie. Seeing him back was fun because he looked like he was having fun. And then of course Pat McAfee and Michael Cole, and just the big main event, or the main event of a press conference, not an actual
Yeah.
wrestling show, but um, even though it was weird because it was a press conference and it drew more people than AEW did in Las Vegas that week. So I hate to rag on AEW, but I'm just pointing out facts. But um, it was interesting. It was interesting because I know Justin was like, he had told me The Rock is a smart businessman. He knows how the wrestling business work and what doesn't work. Because he was heel 20 years ago, like when he came back as Hollywood Rock, and before that he was beloved by everybody, and then he started getting boos because he kept coming back and forth to wrestling from Hollywood, and then he's like, yeah, you know what, I'll be a heel. If you want to hate me, hate me. And heel Rock was some of the best shit he's done, or Hollywood Rock, I'm sorry. And eventually he was beloved by the fans again, and now he is heel Rock, which isn't necessarily Hollywood Rock. I think it's more just like corporate rock, nation domination rock, with a little bit of Hollywood Rock.
Yep.
And on Friday on SmackDown, when he came out wearing like the old school vest, the $500 vest, I'm like, all right, I guess he's heel Rock again. He's wearing sunglasses indoors,
Yep.
and cutting the promo, saying that you're all a bunch of trailer trash, you're all inbreded, blah blah blah. And I mean, I thought the promo was okay. Um, it kind of seemed like a very by the numbers Rock promo, even though like some things he said made me laugh. Um, I don't mean to skip ahead, but like
No,
just
that's cool. It's cool.
kind of like cryptic digs in the promo where like I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only one noticed this because I saw other people did, where like he was telling Cody, I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure you walk out of WrestleMania a loser. And while he's saying this, he's like in the direction of the bloodline. He's like looking right at him. He's looking at
Yeah.
Roman. And then he also said, you're all a bunch of entitled crybaby bitches. And same thing. He's looking in the direction of the bloodline. And then he ended it with Cody's story is finishing, but ours is beginning. So I don't know. I don't know how you feel. I don't know how you feel about it, but just I personally think that Cody and Rock are in cahoots with each other. I think when Cody had said, "I seek counsel from legends and Hall of Famers," and one of those legends knows you pretty well, I'm thinking Rock told him, "Hey, we need to get the best way to take out the bloodline is, they're not going to see it coming, And also remember Cody saying, "I don't just want to take the title from you; I want to take everything from you." So I think The Rock and Cody are in cahoots, and eventually The Rock is gonna fool Roman into thinking he's on his side when in reality he's gonna fuck him over at Mania. And by fucking over, I think he's gonna make sure the bloodline doesn't interfere. He's gonna level him to make sure Cody wins and gets his moment. He's even gonna take out. He's probably gonna take out Paul Heyman too, just to make
Mm.
sure it's even and Cody gets his moment without The Rock overshadowing it. And then the next night on SmackDown, Roman's pissed off and Roman wants The Rock, and that's when they set up WrestleMania for next year.
Yep.
Because he's right.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was pretty much just saying what I said. That Rock can be like, this is Cody's year. Next year is our year.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much
I
what you do.
Yeah. I definitely think I'm definitely aligning towards that. It's very plausible, and I get people's frustration with details like with the Rumble, like why Cody gave up a spot, like you know a lot of the times we tend to overanalyze things. Not that analyzing things is bad, because if you see something that's inconsistent, you call it out. But a lot of times we want them to tell us every single detail. I think the beauty of storytelling is, like you mentioned, with the little cues, the little Easter eggs. I think when that's mixed into to a long story arc, I think it makes for better television, better intrigue, just because you'll it's something that you may notice but not directly catch until you watch it again. It's like, oh, okay, I see that. Because I was paying attention to The Rock when he was, having that promo on SmackDown. And yeah, it was paying by the numbers, and there was some stuff that was funny. It definitely gave me a chuckle, bit of nostalgia vibes. With the fusion of the Versace shirt and the Hollywood Rock vest, kind of like melding them together. Um, so that was awesome. But yeah, like there was just certain things that I noticed, like just with the fact that Cody's story is, hey, winning the Rumble for the second year in a row, facing Roman, trying to get the title that his father, uh, lost. They took it away from him, and it's just certain things that I noticed when The Rock was saying during his promo, like it didn't make sense. But there are cues that he did during the promo that suggest that possibly he is in cahoots, and I think that's depth, great depth and layers. But I do understand a lot of the wrestling fans like concern and issue with the inconsistencies, and just the fact that Triple H also the day after the press conference last week, Triple H came out and said, "Hey, like everything goes through me. If you don't like that, it doesn't matter if you like it or not. Know your role." Those one-liners that Paul was saying. Paul Levesque, Triple H was saying, and then Rock came out this past Friday and didn't acknowledge that. And I get, oh well, you don't have to like there's still time to build, but I think you got to follow up with that, especially after that press conference, especially after what Triple H did on the top of the show, the beginning of the show. I think it makes a great deal of sense for The Rock to at least address that, to have some sort of corporate power struggle. And a lot of people rightfully so are saying, "Hey, what's going on here? Like if Cody and The Rock are in cahoots, they have to like sell it, and the way you sell it is by putting this." show that, hey, we're power struggle. And then when everyone realized, oh shit, they were in cahoots, just to make that shocking revelation. I think that, like, currently right now, they they fumbled it. That doesn't mean that the game is over, but um I I do think that they need to salvage this, because before you know it, Mania will be here. We're almost at March.
Mhm.
And then before you know it, April will be here, and you know, hopefully things will make sense. Um, I'm hopeful, but at the same time, while we do have to appreciate the little nuggets and little details, and the minute details, all the Easter eggs, it's important to just have that consistency when it comes to storytelling during the course of weeks. And as far as the press conference is concerned, that was great. To just wrap this up, the press conference was great. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. See, hearing the unedited, the uncensored version. Rock Person. That whole schmoz. It really felt like a UFC style press conference, and it definitely sold people to want to tune into this, because now is uncharted territory. And yeah, people can say, yeah, they pivoted. That's the word that the IWC likes to use. But I do think that this was not all, but a good majority was planned out. Yeah, they some things were changed, due to the outcry, but hopefully they can salvage everything. And I'm still excited for WrestleMania, but still things have to make sense at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're right. Um, in closing, I mean, this is the first time in a long time that there's been like build
Hmm.
to a WrestleMania, because, but again, in the past it felt like they literally just decided to shuffle everything together at the last minute.
Yep.
Whereas now this year they're, especially with Paul in charge, things are taking their time, even though we kind of have a good grasp on what majority of the matches are. I mean, because we already know what the main event is. They just announced it. Um, I mean, there's possibly going to be a tag team match main eventing night one, maybe or maybe not, with Rock Roman and Seth and Cody. Uh, Drew more than likely is going to wrestle Seth.
Yep.
If that's the case, Drew needs a win. Um, this is probably the most interesting and most over Drew has been.
Oh yeah.
He's doing his best work. So WWE in the past wasn't very good at striking when the iron's hot, especially in the later years. Nowadays, it seems like they're better at realizing when something is working, i.e., LA Knight, i.e., um, Cody, just to name a few. With someone like Drew, it's like, yeah, you need to strike when the iron's hot because his contract is coming up, and you want him to stay, and you want him to make you money. You want someone like that on your roster. I mean, because I saw somebody make a tweet saying, instead of your focus being on Okada, your focus needs to be on re-signing Drew. And I'm like, yeah, wholeheartedly.
I agree.
This is your talent. And Okada's more than likely going to AEW, which is fine, because I wasn't really for it or against it. I was more just like, yeah, that'd be cool. With someone like Drew McIntyre, like that's your talent, like that's your guy. That's a guy that's been your champion and carried the company through COVID. And I was always a Drew supporter. I still am.
Same. Same.
Especially during those COVID those empty arena shows and the Thunderdome shows. Like I I was the one, tooting, the horn of, Drew McIntyre. I know that sounds disgusting, but you know what I mean. But
Yeah. No, I get you. I
but
get you.
yeah, and then he has his shirt, which is, the highest selling shirts in the company, which, the wife wants.
Ah,
Um and she always likes to remind me, I think I picked the wrong Drew. Which I'm like, whatever. But it's sad. But uh, yeah, I'm gonna get her that shirt. I might even get that shirt too. That shirt's cool. But
it's pretty cool. Like I say this about WWE's merch is that there are a lot of shirts I would like to get. Um,
Hmm.
CM Punk's, Cody's, Drew's, Roman, LA Knight, even Bailey. Yeah, a lot of people are not talking about Bailey and like the whole damage control storyline and what they're doing. I
Mm,
think the story with damage control is like a lot of layers. It has hints of Batista, overhearing um Triple H and Ric Flair and what they're gonna do. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna get them, blah blah blah. It definitely felt like that, and that just goes to show um Bailey's hand and the story, and the storytelling process and whatnot. And like, give Bailey her flowers. She lost like nearly all her matches in 2023, but fans still love her. I love her. She's awesome. Been a Bailey fan since like the days of NXT back in 2016.
hmm.
And same with Asuka. Same. So definitely give Bailey, Oscar, EO, even Kyrie, even Dakota. Dakota's doing some good stuff too. All of them, like all of them have done good work too. So, and not a lot of people are talking about this because Rock and Roman, Cody stuff. While it makes sense why it's being most talked about, you do got to give some time to you know give them their flowers as well. Um, but there's a lot of merch that I like to get. Like that's I don't think that's happened since like 2016 ish, like it's 2016, 2017, from
I,
my
I,
guess.
I haven't bought merch in 3 years actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I want that Cody shirt, not the new one, but the one where it's a symbol, but it's like has like ice around it or something.
Oh, that one's like no pun intended, but that one's cool. I like that
It's
one.
cool as fuck. I like. I
Yeah,
want that one. I like it. His new one's pretty cool too, but I don't know. I like the ice one. That maybe Punk shirt. Um, what else? There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of merch that I would
yeah.
love to get.
So many. Like I want the Roman Reigns 1000 days shirt. I want that one. I want the
Right.
Yeet shirt. Um I want the blue and white goes really well. I like that
Mhm.
one.
AJ always has some nice shirts.
Yeah, yeah. I got a few of his shirts like when he debuted around that time. Um it's crazy because I think that's like the last like piece of merch. Actually, no, because I got like some Cesaro stuff. I got Roman stuff. But yeah, that was like the most merch I brought around that time. But yeah, like it's he has a lot of the shirts. Like the design is really like it is made for a shirt. It's made for merch in general. So yeah, I think I might get his stuff too. Yeah.
Hmm.
Get some AJ merch there. Um but yeah, but overall, like we're excited for the road in WrestleMania this year and the just what what's gonna happen leading up to Mania, then after Mania, and yeah, like Punk is not participating this year at WrestleMania due to his injury he suffered at the Rumble. But I think that when he's good and healthy, I believe he's gonna be out for 6 to 8 months.
Right.
Hopefully he'll hopefully with training, just proper training and um just rehabbing that torn muscle. Definitely get a lot of protein, get a lot of protein, get a lot of rest. um I think he'll be back hopefully sooner than later, and he'll you know get to he's winning the world title. Just give it time. um yeah, and I think we talked about this before, but just seeing people just wishing, you know, bad on CM Punk. It's just crazy to me that people people don't get that people can change, people's opinions can change, their view on things can change. When you get to a certain age, you start to see the world differently. You start to see, hey, maybe I was, maybe I was an asshole. Maybe I should done this, done things differently. And you humble yourself when you realize that, hey, I'm a lot older. Got a lot of gray in my hair, wrinkles, my face. I can't hold grudges. I need to just let go. And I think CM Punk has done that. Again, I don't know him personally, but just based on
Yeah.
how he's interacted with a lot of people, in WWE. And, there was an interview that Punk mentioned that, yeah, like, he's glad that The Rock is back and, and I believe they're in good terms. And it was funny when CM Punk during the press conference was saying, yeah, like someone needs to go and punch Rock in the face. And I knew when he said that, again, it was funny as hell, but I knew that it was like The Rock was in on it because come on, like Rock, I'm sure Rock and Punk they made up. Like that happened many, many years ago.
I mean,
And
I think they've always been kind of friendly because I know when Punk did that, shoot interview 10 years ago, he said that The Rock just texted him out of nowhere. He's like, "Hey, what happened?" Because there's like people on my Twitter mentions that are angry at me or something. And he's like, I might have mentioned a story about you. Nothing bad, but he just yeah, I remember in the interview all he did was just said, hey, they booked me against The Rock and The Rock beat me. Like that's really it. And
yep,
then there was that one instance where The Rock was in LA and he called CM Punk, during like a not a dark match, but this was after the show because this is when they were filming the Page movie, not
yeah, I
the
remember that.
not the other Page movie, but the
Yeah,
Page movie that came out in Hollywood. Um, maybe he did, but no. And he just like he was talking in the crowd, and they started chanting CM Punk, and he's like, "Oh, let me call CM Punk," and he just puts it on speaker, and Punk doesn't answer, and but yeah, I think they've always been on good terms. Maybe not like they're best friends, but I think they've always been on good terms because Punk is very blunt, and whenever they did work together, he got invited to Rock's suite, and he said someone from the Rock team literally just gave him a script and said, "Here's what you're gonna say," and Punk's like, yeah, no," and he just told Rock, "Listen, you can do what you want to do, but I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do." And then the Rock's like, "Well, I'm just used to doing things my way," and Punk's like, "Well, I'm used to doing things my way." And he said when he said that, the Rock just kind of like put both eyebrows up, like, "Oh shit."
yep,
But nothing malice, but from the
yeah,
impression that I get from both of them is that they both like each other and they both get along.
yeah,
Um, and to what you said about Punk, yeah, Punk's like what 46, 45. Like he's not a spring chicken anymore, and like he's also married,
yep,
and he knows that the shit he did 10 years ago isn't gonna fly today, and
right,
what CM or not CM Punk, but Paul Triple H said, in the press scrum, after Survivor Series when Punk came back, is that you know you're not if you're still the same person that you were 10 years ago, then you haven't changed.
yep,
Like you grow up, and Punk's grown up. Triple H, grew up, and he also had a heart attack, so he's a lot more humble. Um, and I don't know, like I still see people that just won't let it go with
yeah,
Punk. Like and again, I like Rene Dupree's podcast, but like Rene Dupree still is doing the whole "well, Punk was a dick to me 10 years ago." I'm like, okay, dude, you gotta let that go. Like,
just let it
like
go.
you're talking about somebody that doesn't exist anymore. Like, just you don't have to like the guy, but just like move on. And I don't know, but it does suck with Punk that he just came back and then his first match and he gets hurt. Um,
Yep,
and I remember Kevin Castle saying that. he notices that Punk wasn't really moving around that well, and he was kind of worried about the possibility of him wrestling Rollins because if something doesn't, if he doesn't like improve something, Rollins is gonna wrestle circles around him, and then come to find out, Punk, you know, got hurt. So, but he'll be back, and he'll more than likely be world champion.
Yeah. I mean, listen, when you're in there, he's 45, and you take chops from Drew, and I think Gunther. I know Drew definitely gave him chest chops, but also, I believe Gunther as well. Like you're gonna be winded, you're gonna be out of it, and then wrestling with a torn triceps, like you're not gonna be wrestling normally. And like you mentioned, he's not 25. It's 45. So that's the other thing too. Age, the age is there. Yeah, there's a bit of fragileness there, but I just think that if you use Punk sparingly, I think he'll be fine. But he's just working the Rumble. Like I expected him to be a bit winded. Like it's just I think a lot of times people expect these wrestlers to wrestle how they were in their glory days. Like it's not it. I knew that coming in. Like it was cool seeing him at the Rumble, but he'll be champ. He'll be world champ. Have one last run, and he'll get his Mania spot. I'm definitely hopeful for that.
Yeah, and
Um,
like he works better, I guess, with people that can work more his speed. Because when he was in AEW and he was trying to work with a lot of the younger guys, it didn't look right because he looked like he was getting winded, like super quick. And it's like, why are you having these like 15-20 minute matches with these younger guys when it's not working? And then he had the match with Joe at All In, which was the last
mm,
time you saw him in AEW, and it was actually a really good match. Like everything went well the way it should have.
yep.
But and that was kind of my thing with CM Punk and AEW, which is just like use him as an attraction. Why is he having a 20-minute competitive match with Daniel Garcia and a 15-minute competitive match with Matt Sydal? And like with Punk, his whole thing is I want to elevate the younger talent, and I get it, but it's all up to the booker, and the booker wasn't gonna fucking do that.
Yep.
So you know, uh, I'm glad he's being used more sparingly in WWE because that's the way it should be. And that's what they did with Edge. That's what they did with Brock, and that's what they're going to do with Punk. And it's funny because Punk's whole thing is he didn't like part timers, and now he's a part timer.
Yep.
So I mean, knowing him, not saying I know him personally, but just based off of how he is, he's probably going to make fun of that. He's like, yeah, I'm a hypocrite. So what? Like,
Yep.
I'm a part timer. They're paying me more. I'm working less. So what can I
Yep.
say? But yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep. Um. But yeah, it's just something just something I've noticed just with the IWC. And we'll get into other stuff, but this just came to my mind.
No, I get you.
Excuse me. Yeah, like something came to my mind. It's like I just don't I don't respect a lot of these wrestling journalists. Um, I was watching or listening to Wrestling Soup on YouTube, the clip of the whole Scott Demore thing, and
Hmm.
what's his name? That fucking guy that brought up
Oh,
well.
Houseman.
Yeah, yeah. And he was just with the whole Scott Demore thing, he was like, well, I'm speaking for the victims, and my track record proves. And you know it's just these people, they got into this, and hey, you're all wrestling fans, that you have to be in this space. You gotta be some sort of a fan, cool. But for like a lot of these people, are grifters, especially with the whole Vince McMahon allegations. It's easy. Oh, I'm speaking up for the victims, and
Mm.
it's kind of tasteless when you're like, oh, sub to my Patreon. Like to me, it's just really low, and it's just tone deaf to what's going on, and it's just a lot of ambulance chasing, a lot of uh, conjuring up imaginary dragons to slay. And if something like this, if you had something breaking as far as like Vince McMahon esque, you wouldn't we wouldn't put it behind a fucking paywall. You would just say it, with your sources and all that. But a lot of times, these people they tend to just like guess. They just random guessing or lucid guessing. Uh, like it seems because I don't know, like a lot of people in this space are just call them clout chasing, grifting, and they're just guessing to things that will happen. And I think a lot of times they get fed bullshit and they still run with it because of course they gotta they gotta get that, they gotta get those subs up, they gotta get those subscriptions up. So I just don't have much respect for a lot of these journalists. And most importantly, the a lot of the fans in the IWC that just run with this information. I just don't respect them because that's where the most discourse is created. You have these people just reporting bullshit, and then worst of all, you have these fans or fanatics just running with it, and then you can get a detraction, but by then it's too late. All the news that was put out originally is it's spread, and when you get the time to have a detraction, it's too late. I just cannot stand the Saps and the Housemans, and I just and then the Meltzers especially. He's like the the head, like he's the head of this twisted, fucked up Hydra. And I just cannot stand these people. Um, but more importantly, the fans that peddled the news and is wrong with it without like doing research and making sure the sources is not just Twitter. It's not Twitter. Your source should not be Twitter. It should be from a reputable source. It should be from someone trusted. And a lot of times, these people just spew out just dribble and nonsense, and fans wrong with it. And that's why I'm just like, okay, I hear a rumor. Okay, I wait until we see it on TV. We see things unfold, and otherwise, it's just a rumor. Some things you can like clearly see, but other things I'm waiting because if it comes from Twitter, I'm like, all right, it's something entertaining to read, it's something nice to read, but I just do not trust nor respect a lot of these wrestling journals. Like they just ambush chasing. They create a lot of toxic discourse in the wrestling sphere, and it's kind of embarrassing to be associated with that. All honesty, it really is. And last thing I'll say, a lot of the fans and a lot of these journalists are chronically online. Like they just live online. They just have no semblance of uh interpersonal skills, self-awareness. um they just are chronically online. They just live online. They live for the clicks, for the engagement. They don't know how it is to be a human being. And the stuff with Punk, the anti-Punk stuff, and the shilling of AEW, and then all the other stuff, uh, and then the whole Hausman and the whole Scott Demore thing. It's insane. It's mental. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. It was a rant. I mean, we got to have a rant
Right.
every show, but it's just like
Oh, I get
I
you.
I just can't stand these people. I mean, I
They're
don't
gross.
know them personally, but I just
They're gross.
yeah.
They're gross. Let's just be real. They're gross. It's just, I mean, we pretty much said everything that needed to be said, but just the idea of like, I'm for the victims, but if you want to know more, donate to the Patreon and blah 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 blah. And I'll go, you're fucking gross, dude. Let's just stop and just this Hausman dude. Just the idea, just him trying to insinuate that Scott Demore got fired for reasons the same reason that Vince got fired, and then it comes to find out that's not even fucking true, and it's just he's a fucking moron. He's a leech. He's gross. Him and uh, uh, who the fuck is that dipshit?
Mm.
Sean Ross Sapp. He's gross. Uncle Dave just is. I think is just losing his mind as
Yeah,
each day goes. Brian Alvarez just sounds like he just wants to taste copper in his mouth and blow his brains.
yeah,
Denise Salcedo, I don't dislike. I think she's okay.
yeah.
Um,
She's fine. I don't have
she
issue
seems pretty
with.
likable.
Yeah,
I mean, the only legit ones, Mike Johnson, I like. I think he's someone that doesn't really have a brand that he's married to. He calls everything like pretty fair. And then of course, oh God, why am I blanking on his name?
um,
Old school guy, old guy. You know what I'm talking about?
uh,
Ah, why am I blanking on the name?
I'm blanking too.
Hold on.
Um, but yeah, but we like those people in question are like pretty solid. Pretty rock solid.
Bill Apter.
Um,
There you go.
Bill Apter. Okay, there we go. There we go. Yeah, just
Great
pretty
dude.
solid guys. Apter, Denise. You know, Mike Johnson. Also Chris Van Vliet. Like I like Chris
Oh, he's
Van
great.
Vliet. Yeah, he's cool. I like him. But just the rest of them, there's leeches, man. Like I don't take them seriously. Like yeah, I don't know them personally, but just off the strength that these people are just leeching. And the thing is, I'm not fully upset at the Meltzers and the Saps and the Hausmans. It's more so the people that just just believe things from these people at face value rather than be like, hmm, let me let me do the smart thing and do some research. Let me just take your head out of your ass and just be a little more constructive with your thinking. Nah, we're just gonna be like, oh well, Uncle Dave said it, so it must be true. Meanwhile, a lot of times Uncle Dave just watches the product and then he does his reporting. A lot of times, like
It's like
that's not
it's
journalism.
like you saw what he posted about Triple H and The Rock
Yeah, the segment. I remember that segment because that segment was pretty funny.
from 10
Uh,
years ago.
that was 10 years ago.
He's like they filmed they filmed a segment that was dark and didn't get filmed to the public. It's like, yeah, it was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
When
people are roasting Meltzer, and rightfully so. It's like this is the guy that you're paying for a newsletter from, and you're believing everything he says at face value. Good, you deserve to get duped because if you're not able to discern uh real news, real reporting from just some dude in his room with mountains and mountains of paper just spewing out nonsense and just watching the product, and after watching the product that's when he makes his report, and he obviously has a bias, a slant bias towards AEW. Like I don't know what to tell you, and when we know this, that's why I don't like. Yeah, I'll see what he's reporting, but I don't run with it because I know a lot of times he has a bias, towards
Right.
a big bias. I'm like, yeah, I'm not listening to this dude. And people who do, hey, do what you want, but again, he's not legitimate, and you run with that news that makes you not legitimate. Also,
No,
yep. Um, but yeah, that's basically the gist of that because that's just something that was irking me for like the past like 2 weeks, and then this stuff comes out with Meltzer. I'm like, good, like. you dummy, to quote LA Knight, you dummy.
Dummy.
Why? Yeah, like why? Like this again. You get what you pay for, and Dave is just running all the way to the bank, laughing at you. Um, but yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. And quickly, the whole Scott Demore thing, um, is like really quick. It's very unfortunate. I think that Scott Demore wanted to get a bigger budget from Anthem,
Mhm.
and they was like no, and that's probably the reason why. I was like, okay, buddy, like we're gonna get your pink slip, because they it's always like this in the corporate world. You see someone doing a good job with the company or brand, and then the big wigs get a whiff of it and like, we don't want you doing that anymore. Like you're like showing us up. You're making us look like you're making us look incompetent. Which, I mean, I'm sorry, if I was Anthem, and of course I'm not. I would just sold. If you don't want the headache or the burden of having TNA, just sell it. I would have sold it to Demore, wash my hands off of it, but they feel like they can turn into something that they see fit. But it could be more. It could be a lot more to what's going on. But I do think that it's just, and I'm trying to be as positive as possible, but I really think that is not a good look for TNA. They just relaunch, rebranded. You have Dolph Ziggler over there, Nick Nemeth over there. You have a crop of talent, Jordan Grace, you have Moose, you have Motor City Machine Guns, um, you have the K, you have a good crop of talent out, in that company. And it's just like, well, shit. um, it really is unfortunate. I really do hope that they come to a resolution. I think them firing Scott Demore was a bad move. Um, and I remember Kazarian mentioning that, hey, like, we're upset. He's upset, but let's give him a chance. But I just don't know. You can give, like, I'm all for giving, one chance, but the guy that's the head, the president, he's not like, he hasn't run a wrestling company. He has no experience in wrestling, so it's kind of hard to trust someone in that position. And I believe, um, I do believe Tommy Dreamer is like the head of creative, and Gail Kim is like in that sphere as well. But that's just a short term solution. I don't think the long term will actually do much good. Um, but I don't know. It's worried about TNA. I really am worried because, for being hard to kill, and they had that pay per view back in January. It's like, sheesh. It's it's not boding too well. But I do hope that long term things will correct itself. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much with the TNA news. Um, let's see. Yeah, I think that's all the wrestling stuff. Yep,
Mhm.
that's all. That's pretty much all the wrestling stuff that I have. Yeah, we'll talk about the elimination chamber, like, um, we'll like talk about in the next show.
Right.
Okay. Let's see. So we have Deadpool 3, or Deadpool and Wolverine.
Hmm.
Um, we saw the trailer.
Hmm.
Um, Pretty cool. Just from watching it, pretty cool. Good to see, Deadpool back. Yeah, that it was like that pegging joke, which was like, of course, and then F bomb. And then Logan, we knew that Logan was gonna be back, through the leaks and whatnot. But um, while I am excited, this is probably gonna be the only thing Marvel Disney that I will consume
Hmm.
because it's its own entity. It's not like tied to anything. I don't have to do homework and watch all these Disney Plus shows. I had better time. I had better things to do with my life clock than to watch Secret Invasion. I think everyone can agree to that. All these other shows. Um, but I think as a standalone movie, it will do fine, and we'll talk about we'll predict how much they will make on opening weekend, or just yeah, I'll say opening weekend, like how much they'll make, or like in total, um, in a bit. But overall, what are your thoughts on on the trailer and just everything that you've seen in the trailer?
I mean, they called it a teaser, and it was what 2.5 minutes. That I mean, that was kind of a teaser when you look at it because, for basically, to my knowledge on the trailer, is that they only filmed half of the movie before the writer's strike, and
Hmm.
then after the, I mean, because I know they just finished shooting like I think a month ago, so pretty much everything you saw in that trailer was everything they filmed before the writer's strike,
Hmm.
and maybe just a few other scenes or whatever. But I love the trailer, as you can imagine. I was looking forward to it. It came out on Super Bowl Sunday, and that was pretty much my only reason for wanting to watch the Super Bowl, was so I can see the trailer. And the teaser literally came out like right before the game started, and it was just a teaser. It was just Deadpool saying, Deadpool and Wolverine just feels right, and all you nerds out there, you're gonna be happy. And then it says the full trailer's online, so immediately I just go on YouTube. I make sure to turn off my ring notification and brighten the screen so I can see everything. And the whole pegging joke, him saying, pegging isn't new to me, but it is to Disney. And he looks at the screen. So I'm like, okay, yeah, if anyone has any doubts that this isn't rated R, like, come on. Like, Ryan Reynolds pretty much told you it's rated R.
Yep.
I think what could happen is like there'll be maybe like a scene for like a few minutes where it's PG-13 somewhat, because Deadpool's like, wait, why am I getting bleeped? Oh yeah, Disney. And then he
Yep.
just keeps getting bleeped, and then eventually it goes into rated R territory. Because all I know is that Ryan Reynolds not only stars in it, he's a co-producer. He's one of the co-writers. They brought back the writers from the first two movies, because originally they had writers from like Bob's Burgers, which I'm like, why?
No.
And then Kevin Feige just went, no, go,
No.
get away. We're gonna bring back the original two writers plus Ryan Reynolds. Um, and Kevin Feige literally just said it's gonna be rated R. Like, we're leaving it alone. It's Deadpool. It doesn't need a change. Because I mean, I don't know if you remember, because I think they re-released Deadpool as PG-13 for like a Christmas movie, where
Yeah.
it's like, hey, do you want this? No, no, we don't. We don't want that. Go away. Like, please give us our rated R Deadpool with inappropriate jokes and violence, and that's what we're getting in this movie. I could not wait to watch any. I could not wait to watch people that I see reaction videos for. So I'm just like scouring the internet of like who reacted to this trailer. I need to see who reacted to this, and I've watched it maybe 10 times, almost as much as when Infinity War dropped and Spider-Man No Way Home dropped. Um, it's coming out in July. July can't come soon enough. It's gonna make 1 billion. I can already tell. It's gonna be the first Marvel movie since like No Way Home that's gonna cross 1 billion. It's the only MCU movie that's coming out this year. I'm not counting the Sony ones, which we'll talk about, a Sony movie that just came out. Well, it's
Yeah.
gonna be me branding about it. Um, this is the only movie you need. It's a license to print money, and like you said, it's standalone. I think Deadpool is easy for a lot of people to watch. There's people that are like, yeah, I'm not really a Marvel superhero fan, but I like Deadpool because it's easy to watch. It's easy to follow. It's satire, kind of like The Boys, where like it makes fun of other things. It's self aware, and like you don't need to watch, like you said, you don't need to watch like 2 other Disney Plus series and then like 3 other movies to understand it. Like I think you can go into Deadpool 3 like blind almost.
Yep.
I mean, I think it would help to watch the first 2 movies because I mean, judging by what we see in the trailer, what happened at the end of Deadpool 2, him messing with the timelines and time jumping, it
Yep.
might confuse a few people. Like, wait, what happened? Why is this group, called the Time Variance Authority after Deadpool?
Yep.
So you might need to watch, the last movie at least to understand what happened. But I'm looking forward to it because I love Deadpool and I love Wolverine. Wolverine's in my top 3 of favorite superheroes. It's Superman. It's not Superman. It's Spider-Man, Batman, and Wolverine. Like,
Hmm.
those are my 3. I've always loved Wolverine. I'm fucking stoked that Hugh Jackman is coming back because Hugh Jackman played a great Wolverine. I always laugh when people bitch like, "Oh, but he's too tall to be Wolverine." Who gives a flying fuckity fuck? I don't care that he's tall. He's awesome. He's my Wolverine. I just wish there was the Lazarus pit where I can dip him in so he can play Wolverine forever because he's that fucking good at being Wolverine. I can't really imagine anyone else who can be Wolverine, but eventually there's going to be a time when we're going to have to deal with somebody else being Wolverine. But until then, Hugh's back. That's all we need. And then look at this rumored casting list. It's going to be Deadpool kills the Marvel or the it's going to be like Deadpool kills the Marvel universe, but in this case, it's going to be Deadpool kills the Fox Marvel universe. But I think
Yep.
there's more story to that than him just killing the Fox Marvel universe. And just that line he had where he said, "I'm the Messiah, I'm Marvel Jesus,"
Yeah.
where it would have been funny if in that one section in the trailer where he shows him like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but like peak Marvel. Like,
Yeah.
what if he showed him current Marvel and he's like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Yeah. That would have
like,
been like poetic.
And like, what if somehow Deadpool finds a way to kind of cleanse everything that happened after Endgame and just
Yeah.
kind of start over? It's like, okay, She-Hulk, which I didn't hate She-Hulk, but She-Hulk needs to go. Internals, the Marvels, just all the bad stuff, which there's a lot of bad. That can go away. Thor: Love and Thunder never happened. What else? Secret Invasion never happened. Just get
Yeah.
rid of all the stuff that just kind of ruined everything else. So, but yeah, he's gonna cleanse, because Jennifer Garner is apparently back as Elektra,
Yeah.
which that's dope. Apparently Ben Affleck came in to film some scenes as Daredevil, so that'd be pretty cool. Um, and then of course the X-Men. Pretty sure Patrick Stewart is back.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know about McAvoy, which that would be interesting if he did come back. It'd be interesting if we got 2 Magnetos, if we got Fassbender and McKellen.
Oh,
Um,
that'll be a wet dream of mine.
mm,
Like
fuck it.
just because
Hey, hey,
I love the X-Men, man. I love the X-Men.
oh, the
I
X-Men,
love it.
that's my shit. I mean, we're I, I
Yeah.
mean, we're gonna talk about the '97 thing in a bit, but
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
I love the X-Men. The X-Men movies were kind of hit or miss because I thought Bryan Singer did a good job at making mutant movies.
Mm.
Whereas, First Class I thought was the best X-Men movie.
Yeah, First Class was definitely like
Mm,
up there in terms of like a grounded X-Men film. Just the feel, like just he was able to grab the essence of the X-Men and like yeah, like I like the first two X-Men films, the Fox
mhm.
ones. The third
Right.
one,
Yeah, had its moments, but no.
yeah, uh-huh.
Like, just another thing about those X-Men movies is that, I know I just said Wolverine's one of my favorites, but you can tell that those movies were made by Wolverine fanboys
Yeah,
because it was basically just Wolverine and the X-Men. It's like, yeah, you basically wasted Cyclops, you wasted Storm.
yep,
You bring in Halle Berry and you waste her and James Marsden. I I he's a guy that I look at him, I'm like, he probably could have been a much bigger star than he actually was. And that's not to shit on him. He's a good actor, but he's not a lead. He's not someone that you put on marquees and go, "Hey, he's in this movie." It's like as a supporting actor, but
Mm,
even in those Sonic movies, he's not the star. It's Sonic. Sonic's the star. But again, I don't want to shit on James Marsden because I like James Marsden. But
yeah.
um, yeah, just like Cyclops was basically Cycuck in these
Yeah.
movies. Like Wolverine was coming in and taking Jean and just like pretty much just like dicking her down right in front of Cyclops, and Cyclops is like, "Hey, that's my girl." It's like, well, your girl has my dick in her mouth, so what are you gonna do about it? Um, but yeah, just like I'm hoping going forward, the MCU X-Men, we get to see Cyclops the way he was meant to be played. Same thing with Storm, because Storm is Storm. Other than than Wolverine, I think she's interesting enough to have her own movie or
Think
at
so?
least a series. Yeah, because she's just so interesting. Like there's much more to her than what we saw in the movies. Because I don't know if you remember this story, but so she originally wasn't going to come back for X2. Um, and I think like the producers, they duped her into signing back by giving her a fake script
Mm,
because apparently she was going to have like a 20 minute, like a 10-20 minute montage where it just shows her, helping people and doing A, B, C, and D. And that's why she was able to come back for X2 and X3. But the producers were like, yeah, that was a fake script. We're not actually going to
ah,
film that. So, once she signed back, she couldn't do anything because, if she would have tried to get out, she would have had to like go through trials and blah, 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 which is just like, yeah, you guys are fucking cocksuckers for doing that.
yeah, that's not a good look. It's
No.
definitely not a good look.
But yeah, Halle Berry more than likely is coming back. I know she posted a photo where she had her, storm hair. So she's more than likely coming back. James Marsden's more than likely coming back. Liev Schreiber, I don't know if he'll come back per se,
Yeah,
but I know there was like behind the scenes footage of like showing a guy who looks like Sabretooth fighting Deadpool and Wolverine, and he got his head chopped off. So I'm pretty sure it's Liev Schreiber. Um, and then other Fox characters. It would be funny as fuck if Chris Evans came back as Johnny Storm. I know
I
that'd be funny.
$20 says that he will.
That'd be funny as shit. Michael B. Jordan, same thing, where like
Yeah.
Deadpool's like, Killmonger. Wait, who? And then he just kills him, kills Miles Teller, kills everybody else in that movie, and he's like, I did you a favor. um, um, I wouldn't. I don't see why Jessica Alba couldn't come back. I think Michael Chiklis is coming back because there was like quote unquote fake footage of him as the Thing, but he's like, yeah, that's kind of fake. I'm like, eh,
Yeah.
wouldn't bother
Yeah.
me. But and then maybe like I don't know, Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider. Just I don't know. There's a lot of shit they can do. There's
Yeah.
so much shit they can do. Um, but yeah, this movie is going to be huge. I mean, there's probably things that we're not even thinking about that could happen. Um,
Hmm.
and they made sure to keep this shit vague as fuck. I mean, we already saw Hugh Jackman in the costume, and
Yep.
we only saw him for like maybe 3 seconds or maybe like 2 seconds at the end of the trailer. They're gonna make us wait
Yep.
until we can see him in like full Wolverine form, which I'm happy with. I prefer it that way. I want to be surprised. Um, yeah, I can't wait. Um, it's Deadpool. I have faith in Ryan Reynolds. I have faith in Sean Levy, who is a very accomplished and esteemed director. And a lot of the big problems with Marvel lately is like they find directors that they know they can control.
Yep.
With someone like Sean Levy and someone like James Gunn and the Russos, those are directors that Marvel they just go, you know what, make your movie. Same thing with James Gunn, make your movie. Someone like Sean Levy, who has a lot of movies under his belt and like movies that are actually good and not just like he made two independent films that five people heard of. It's like, no, this guy made, the Night at the Museum movies. This guy made Real Steel. He made Free Guy. He made a Big Fat Liar. If if any of you guys remember that.
I remember
Um,
that movie. I remember that film. I love that film.
yeah, great film. He's made a lot of good. He's mainly known for making movies that are very wholesome. They have that kind of wholesome feel to it. So it's interesting to see him direct a rated R Deadpool movie.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but that's also how Deadpool works is that, you know, he's a very tragic character and there's a lot of heart in those films because at the end of the day he uses, his like sense of humor as like a defense mechanism.
yep,
And he wears his mask because he doesn't want people to see how he looks. And then, you know, he has very few friends. He loves Vanessa with all his heart. And like, I remember Deadpool 2, like, I was like, why am I feeling feelings all of a sudden? Especially like the scene where he's going to the afterlife to see Vanessa and she's saying, you're not done yet. And they're playing, Take on Me, the like acapella version. I'm like, wait, why am I feeling feelings during a Deadpool movie? Like, what's going on? Why is this movie making me
yeah.
feel this way? But I mean, that's a good thing about just a lot of these superhero characters is that they're very tragic Greek. They're Greek tragedies at
Pretty
the end of
much,
the
yeah.
day. Which is why like a lot of people when I see them shit on them, they're like, "Oh, they're stupid. They're for children." I'm like, "Have you read a comic book before? Because these stories are really not for kids." But that's another conversation for another time. But
Right, right, right.
I can't wait for Deadpool 3. Deadpool Wolverine. I can't wait. It's it's on my bucket. It's on my list of, probably my single most anticipated movie of the year. And I guarantee you it'll make a billion. Guarantee it.
Yeah, I I think it'll hit a million. I definitely think it will hit. Excuse me, a billion. Just because, just because it's anticipated, it has fan service. With Wolverine. Like we mentioned earlier, I love Wolverine. One of my favorite
Mhm.
superhero characters. Let alone one of my favorite uh Marvel characters. And I really think that like I really think that this movie will not necessarily save the MCU, but it will definitely, mind you, the film has to be good, and I believe this film will be good.
Mhm.
It while it won't save the MCU, won't be this new renaissance because there's still a lot of like other crap that's coming out.
Right.
So this is a palate cleanser, but I do think that this will like take the heat off because I think this is the only film that's coming out, like any Marvel film that's coming out this year. All the other stuff has been pushed back by a year or two. So
Yeah,
this
it's
is the palate cleanser.
only MCU film. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think there's like Disney Plus series, but as far as like movies goes, this is the only like MCU movie that's coming out. And this is literally all you need.
yep,
Um but yeah, just yeah, it's again just Deadpool 3. It's that's all I gotta say. Deadpool 3,
yeah,
July.
yeah.
Can't come soon enough.
It's a summer, summer blockbuster. I do really think that Marvel seriously needs to go back to just doing two two films
Agreed.
tops a year,
Agreed.
and yeah, and none of this Disney Plus like too. I think too much of anything is a bad thing because you
Mhm.
oversaturate. What ends up happening is that instead of having films be in their own sphere, and you can have it still be connected. Like there's nothing wrong with having films that interconnect. But when you have to do homework, like this is entertainment. I should be able to watch a film and okay, I get what's going on in this film, then watch the sequel or whatever. Okay, I know the gist of the story based off the first film. Able to watch the second film, even if you don't watch the first film, you should still be able to know. Okay, just based on um any expedition, they will let us know what happened in the first film in the second film. But to watch it also helps to you know but just to have every film, every TV show be connected and you got to
Right.
go back and watch it is a chore.
Yeah.
People don't want to do that. I think that just by having just by having one or two Marvel films a year, And hey, even take a year off. It's not the end of the world. But I get why they doing it. Doesn't mean it's the right thing. Is because it's a product that people can consume.
Right.
That's what they see. The
And
Marvel property as just a product.
like as far I guess it depends on the film. Like if you're doing an Avengers movie, just that's all you need for that year. Just do
Hmm.
an Avengers movie and just put it out there, and that's literally all you need. You don't need to release anything else after that. Like,
Hmm.
and me and RJ talk about this a lot, and me and RJ are, you know, we're a bit more optimistic about it than like you would be, but we're also, realistic. Like, okay, not everything is working.
Yep.
And Marvel needs to kind of and allegedly they are, uh what's his name,
Bob Iger.
Bob Iger had said that they're going to focus more on going back to franchise characters, and and our buddy John Draper was like, that's a nice way of saying, our secondary shit didn't work, so we're going to go back to the stuff that does work. And it kind of looks like it's going that way, with Deadpool coming out, and Captain America 4, and the announcement of a possible another Thor movie that's going to go back to the way it used to be, and Spider-Man, which I think for Marvel to kind of win people back is they need to put out shit with characters that people actually care about. That people can actually get lost in and not feel like they have to, write a college thesis paper.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So just, go back to releasing your heavy hitters, and for any of your ancillary characters, just put that shit on Disney Plus and make it, not necessarily make it a special, but just do like short movies. Just do like movies that are under like an hour. You know what I mean? They did
Exactly.
that with Werewolf by Night. They did that with the Guardians of the Galaxy special. Just, we don't need 10 episodes of Agatha. We don't
We
need that at
don't.
all.
We
You know what I
don't.
mean? We don't really need a Thunderbolts movie.
No, we don't. Like, take that budget for that film. Like, just keep that away. Keep the money. No one wants nor asks for a Thunderbolts film.
No.
Um, what we just need, give us X-Men, give us Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
And
That's all we
Spider-Man.
need. We got and Spider Man, but just though we need. I know Deadpool is going to be a way to bring in the X-Men into the MCU, but we do need the Fantastic Four because, mind you, they're the first family of Marvel that, like, it
Mhm.
started off with Fantastic Four and X-Men, and doesn't make any sense. And I know why, rights issues, blah blah blah, but just right now we should have just more of things flowing in, but we just need those two. And of course, Spider Man will be around. Like I'm like he always be around. Like Spider Man makes money. It prints money, unlike Agatha and Ironheart and Secret Invasion and all these other, like, these secondary, third tier, fourth tier characters. No one, like, they should not have their own movie or TV show. I'm sorry. Like, it's just not everyone needs an origin story. Not everyone needs a movie or a 10 to 13 episode series. Just have your heavy hitters. It's like with AEW. We talk about this with AEW. I'd rather have a roster, a roster TV ready than having a bunch of indie darlings and just second, like, third tier, fourth tier wrestlers
Right.
on TV.
And
And yeah, go ahead.
just to kind of add to the heavy hitters, like for your Disney Plus shows or just your shows in general, just Daredevil works. Like that's Daredevil is what brings people in. People like the Daredevil Netflix show. Do a Punisher show, obviously. Just do shows on characters that are actually interesting enough for people to invest 10, 13 episodes in.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like WandaVision was great because, she was in the movies and Elizabeth Olsen's a great actress, and Loki I kind of go back and forth with, but Loki, is different. So just and that's kind of another thing, and we can move on to the next thing. But like,
Yep.
just a lot of your shit that you're putting out, don't just hire directors that people have never heard of, or that you saw one movie that came out at South by Southwest that five people saw. Like, bring in
Four
good,
people. Four people saw.
right? Like, just bring in directors that have a known name to bring these characters to life, and bring in good writers. Stop with the overly done CGI.
Hmm.
Just make your movies cheaper. Like, Captain America 4. Like, it doesn't need to have like a $200 budget. It just needs maybe like an $80. I'm sorry, $80 million budget. Like the Blade movie is allegedly going to have a budget lower than 100, which good. Like, Blade doesn't need a crazy CGI budget. It just needs blood. It
Hmm.
needs cursing. It needs rated R. It needs darkness. Um, that's literally all it needs. So a lot of your like street level based characters, they don't need big budgets. Just give them a budget lower than 100 mil, and that's it. And
Yep.
no more bringing in comedy writers from fucking what's that show?
Bob's Burgers.
Not well, Bob's Burgers, but what's the other one? Rick and Morty.
Rick
Rick
and
and Morty.
Morty.
They're
Yeah, I
uh,
like Rick and Morty, but like a
no,
writer, having a fucking writer from Rick and Morty doing a blockbuster film or doing an MCU film. No, no, it
no.
just doesn't make any sense.
Right, and just bring in directors that can make a film that you want, but also the fans want,
Yep.
and also what they want, and not
Hmm.
just directors that can control. Because like there was like was it like a 2 minute video that Draper put up about all these like writers and directors for Marvel films, and all of them literally had the same answer of like, well, I was told not to read the material. I was
Yep.
told to do this. I was told that they wanted me to make this movie. I was told blah blah. It's like, oh boy. And this is why these movies suck. And again, this is coming from a guy who likes it, who likes the shit, and who
Yep.
defends the shit like, furiously. Maybe not as furious as before, but like, it's just like, just do all this. Go back to basics. Go back to quality over quantity, and you'll be fine.
Yep.
But
Yep.
did you want to talk about the Fantastic Four casting news?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about that shit. But I'll say this about just to wrap this up. The reason why we're not going to, like, obviously nothing is done overnight. Um, but just with the whole the just with the company, Disney, they we can easily say, oh, this is easy. They need to have lower budgets, for their films. They need to stop relying on CGI. They need to stop having so many films and projects being done at once. Less is more. But they're not going to do that. Again, nothing is overnight. But they're not going to do that because they're just so dialed in the current day message that they have to, that this is all they know. And with Bob Iger, you mentioned Bob Iger. It was like this leaked a conference call of him basically saying that he ended racism because he did Black Panther. I'm just like, yeah, the this guy that said on one hand, yeah, like we know we're fucking up, like what we're doing currently isn't working. This the same guy that said, "Yeah, I cure racism because I did Black Panther." I do not trust these people to change or to make to let creative people do creative things. I don't trust these people to just get out of the way and hire people, competent people to write stories, tell stories, direct stories, and get rid of all the fluff. I am not confident in that because of the track record. And of course, these people are going to try to stay face. because they know that what they're doing isn't working. So they gotta, appease. They gotta appease the masses. They gotta make us seem like, yeah, like we hear you. And they don't care. Like when the money starts drying up, then they'll be like, okay, fine, we'll put out classic Marvel, the stuff that got people enjoying our content, because right now all this the garbage that we have now, excluding a handful of movies and TV shows, it's garbage.
Mhm.
And and that's what I was saying before, that Deadpool itself isn't going to save the MCU. It's going to be a good palate cleanser for the MCU. It's not going to save it, but it's people are going to watch it. It's going to be a wonderful trip down memory lane, with the nostalgia. It's going to be a good film because of the people that we know are in it and the rumor cast. But I feel after this, we're going to get into just status quo as usual, and then we can then segue to talk about Fantastic Four and the casting of the cast. So do you want to read out the cast for Fantastic Four?
Let me pull that up real quick.
Do the same.
Fantastic Four cast. All right, so just to kind of rewind the clocks back. So on Valentine's Day, which was last Wednesday, Marvel made the announcement that the Fantastic Four cast was announced. They put out a pretty cool like greeting, like a Valentine's Day card of the cast. Which, if you didn't know, you're probably like, "Oh, this is pretty cool. Like, this is a nice little fan made card." I'm like, "Oh no, Marvel made this. This is the actual cast." So, um, the rumored cast that's been going on since like almost a year, well, maybe shorter than that,
Yeah.
has finally been confirmed. So Marvel's Fantastic Four movie, which is directed by Matt Shackman, who directed. He was the showrunner for WandaVision, and it's going to come out next year on July 25th. So the same month as Superman Legacy, which is going to be July 11th. So it's going to be a pretty crazy July. But the cast, I'll get to it. The cast is Pedro Pascal will be playing Reed Richards. That's been rumored for a few months. Ebon Moss Backrack. Hope I'm saying that
Backrack.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Backrack. Yeah.
He's playing Ben Grimm slash the Thing. Joseph Quinn will be playing Johnny Storm, so the Human Torch, and Vanessa Kirby will be playing Sue Storm, who, aka Invisible Woman. Um, I like the cast. I'm apprehensive about one guy. I'm pretty sure you know who that is, but let me get to the
Hmm.
others. Ebon, our boy Richie, cousin from the Bear.
Yep.
This is perfect casting. I mean, because he's great on the Bear. He pretty much is playing Ben Grimm on the Bear, except there's more cussing on that.
Hmm.
So I imagine there's going to be less cussing in this. I think he's going to be great. I think he's a great actor. How he pulls off the actual Thing, because in the animation for the art of him as the Thing, it actually looked better than than even the live action iterations. It looked better than Michael Chiklis. Looked better than whatever the fuck that thing was from Fan Four Stick. Looked like a giant, orange shit.
Ugh.
But um, I'm liking Ebon Moss Backrack. I think he's gonna do great. He's gonna knock it out of the park. So I'm happy about this one. Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. He's as far as like acting credits, he's mainly known for being Eddie Munson from Stranger Things. And when you watch that show, he kind of comes off as like a young Robert Downey Jr. as far as like his personality and like his sarcasm goes. So I'm digging this. I think he'll add a lot of youthfulness to this role that's been missing for a while. Um, so he's been in a few other things. He's going to be in the sequel to Gladiator. Um,
Mm,
and he's also in the prequel to A Quiet Place. It's
okay.
him and what's her name from what the fuck's her name from Us? It'll come to me. But he's gonna
Yeah.
be in that, so he's gonna be Johnny Storm, which looking forward to it. I like him. And then Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, and just look at her. She's hot.
Yeah.
she's a great actress, and she's drop dead gorgeous. She's been in a lot of things, and she's always been great in them. She was in Mission Impossible. She was in Hobbs and Shaw. She was in was it The Crown? Um, I think she was in Napoleon. She played Napoleon's wife,
Mm.
and I think she's been attached to this since last year. I think she was probably like if I had to guess, I think she was maybe the first like cast member to be hired. If I had to guess,
Right.
um, so and it's interesting that her last name is Kirby since Jack Kirby created the Fantastic Four. So
Very, very interesting there.
how apropos. So
Yeah.
cool. And then the man of the hour, which I'm pretty sure you and me are going to have an interesting discussion about this. Pedro Pascal is going to be Reed Richards, which this was announced a few months ago as a rumor about him circling the role. And then a lot of news came out afterwards that he had to drop out of a movie, and there was really no indication why. And then he hurt his arm. Maybe he was doing action scenes. I don't know. But he's now Reed. This has maybe gotten mixed reactions. I'll start by saying I love Pedro. I think Pedro is an amazing actor. I think he's shown that he has good range. I mean, he was great in Last of Us as Joel. I mean, that's someone that when they were casting for Joel, I was kind of looking at other actors, and they cast Pedro. I'm like, really wasn't thinking of Pedro. And then you watch the show, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's why he's great. He's on The Mandalorian. Uh, he's been in a bunch of other shit since. He's a great actor. My biggest gripe with this is kind of what I just said. He's in a lot of shit. I've seen his face too much. So, like, with me, I would have preferred someone who was more unknown to
Right.
kind of be in that role. So that way I can look at them and get lost in the role. Whereas Pedro, I have this fear of like, I'm going to look at him and maybe attach him to another character he's played. I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh, he's acting too much like Joel. He's acting too much like, Mando. He's acting too much like, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
So, and you just, I don't want to get to a point where I'm sick of Pedro, where it's just like, oh, he's in too much shit. And, he's a hot commodity. He's Disney's, I don't want to say golden goose, but like, he's on The Mandalorian. People like The Mandalorian. So, he's in bed with Disney. Again, the movie doesn't come out for another year and they don't start filming till like, I think summer. So, for all we know, he's going to make us eat our words. Another thing that kind of comes into play is that he's going to have his facial hair? What voice is he going to use? Is he going to use his Joel voice, which will be weird? Is he going to use his sexy Pedro Pascal voice? Like, what is he going to use? So, um, that's kind of how I feel about it. Is I'm mixed. I'm very apprehensive about him being Reed. Also, another thing is he's closing in on 50. So I would assume that they would have cast an actor that's maybe not young, but like maybe in their 30s. Um, Granted, two things kind of come into play is um, playing Reed is essentially like playing Tony Stark, where you don't really have to do too much action like a Captain America or a Wolverine. You have to get in like sick shape. You mainly just have to act in front of a green screen. That's pretty much it. Um, and I'm blanking. What was I going to say? Oh, and then the movie itself, they're already going to be an established team. So Marvel kind of wants to do less origin stories about shit we've seen like 8 million times, which I get. I understand that. Like, how many times does Uncle Ben need to die for our sins?
Yep.
No. So I would have thought that maybe they should have done an origin story for Fantastic Four because not too many people are familiar with that origin story. But I get why they wanted to go with they're more established and it's allegedly set in the 60s, which I'm interested in that. Because let me finish up. Let me finish up because I feel there's a rant coming. But I'm fine with that because I know that's the idea that's been floating around is they were a team in a different time, and the reason why nobody really remembers them is maybe they got phased out of existence, and maybe the quantum realm has a role to play in this. But um, I'm looking forward to it. Again, I'm a little skeptical about how Pedro's going to pull it off, but he's probably going to make us eat our words by next year. So that's how I feel about it.
Mm. Um, I think this is just a bad casting for Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. Just because the role of Mr. Fantastic, you think of a dude that's like chiseled jaw, like square jawed, um, just like that's just that's just like how I'm seeing it. And I think the main reason why they casted Pedro because I think no one else wanted to do it, or they just passed on someone that made sense.
Well,
The person that played
right,
Reed Richards in Multiverse of Man was yeah, Multiverse of Madness.
Krasinski.
Like yeah, I think he was a perfect Reed Richards, but of course they had him just lose, like Wanda just destroyed him. So people weren't happy with that. I wasn't happy with that. Like they actually like that was a good casting there. Like that Mr. Fantastic, that was good casting. And yeah, I don't think he fits that role of Reed Richards. I really don't.
Mm.
I think the main reason why they just had him for the role, cast him for the roles just for the fact that they wanted to go more diverse. Like and no one
Mm.
else they didn't want anyone else to play the role. And
I, with Pedro, I think with Pedro and Oscar Isaac are two of those actors that they're both Hispanic, but they can pull off any other role. Whereas, because like for example, like Pedro and Last of Us, Joel was a white guy in the game, and I was skeptical. And I'm like, they're changing Joel's, not gender but race, and then he pulled it off. Like, and it wasn't really like a problem in the show. They never really brought it up. They still called him Joel Miller. So, I get what you mean is diverse, but I think Pedro is one of those actors that can play any race role, and no one really seems to bat an eye on it. I think the main problem, and I'm sorry for like talking over you, but like I think the main problem with this is just Pedro is just we've seen his face too much. And I
yeah,
know people like to use the example of like, well, what about Heath Ledger? I'm like, Heath Ledger, when he got cast as Joker, we didn't see him that much. Like we didn't see him in every single movie and every single TV show and every single magazine. And like when we saw Heath Ledger, we only knew him as the pretty boy actor, and we saw him in Brokeback Mountain. So I was skeptical about that. I'm like, really, Heath Ledger? And then he fucking knocked it out of the park. So with Pedro, it's much different. But continue. I'm sorry.
yeah. I mean, different actors. Heath Ledger was a great actor. He like when he played the Joker, like that was like some of the best performance I've seen from an actor in a long time. Like you actually thought that Heath Ledger was like the Joker, like in real life. That's how good of an actor he was. Not saying that Pedro isn't a good actor, but I am saying that he's just not. This is not a good casting. And like
Right.
you said, we have seen him in everything. We have seen him in everything, and that's why like it's like just fatigue from that. But also, it's just not a good. The main reason why I say it's not a good casting is just like he doesn't look like a Reed Richards. And The Last of Us, that's a video game, and he did pull that off pretty well from what I heard. But I, I just think this is just casting. I just
All right.
really think so.
No, I get you. I mean, you're not alone, but yeah.
Yeah, my dog is barking like because everyone's home.
And for what it's,
Um,
and I guess kind of another interesting tidbit. I mean, depending on how you feel about it, is the writers of Avatar are writing the film. So I don't know if that means anything.
oh, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
you and everyone else know how I feel about Avatar, but everyone else loves Avatar, so maybe that'll be a good thing. Maybe that'll be, I don't know. But again, I look at it as like, you know, how many times that we have this conversation of this actor's not right for the role, and then we watch and you're like, oh, that was actually good. But
I mean, yeah, like if I don't mind being proved wrong because that's just the beauty of life. When you are proved wrong, it's like, oh, I thought that this wasn't going to be a good fit, but it turned out to be wrong. That's fine. Like it doesn't hurt my pride or anything.
right.
But just based off what we usually see, like the character portrayed, the character Reed Richards being portrayed as, um, and we had an actor that fit the role
Hmm.
perfectly. It's just interesting that they went with Pedro, and I think Pedro also I think he's more of a psychic character. He's more of that ilk for certain stuff. A leading man, no. Again, if I'm proven wrong, I'm proven wrong. But just in just based on face value, I I just don't think he's a leading man.
Right.
Just based on that.
I mean, there were other actors, but I think their salary was too big because I think Adam Driver was kind of attached to it, but he wanted more money. But I also think Adam Driver doesn't really want to do any comic book movies.
Right.
Um,
I don't blame him. I really don't blame him for
oh,
that. Not the budget thing. That's another thing that I have issue with a lot of actors. But in terms of not wanting to be associated with comic book characters.
and Jake Gyllenhaal was allegedly attached to it, but I think he wanted more money, and I think he would have been perfect as Reed, but he also played another character in the MCU, so that would have been kind of an issue. Um, I mean, depending on how you look at it, but I don't know. I mean, I think Pedro's a good leading man. Depending on the role he's in. Um, but I don't know. Again, it's like I said, it's in July. It was not not till next year, so we'll just. It's one of those things. We'll just wait and see.
I'll be right back.
Sure.
Okay, I'm back.
All right. There's like a 90 seconds of dead air. So
Okay. Yeah, I'll edit that.
no.
Um, but yeah, like I just overall, I think that he's not leading leading man material. I mean, his this can prove me wrong. If I'm proven wrong, not the end of the world. But I just think with just all of just just with all the flops from Marvel and Disney, they just cannot afford like every detail, good casting, good scripts, good producers, directors. They cannot, like, if this fails and whatever other projects they have fail, it's just not gonna look good. Like at this point, they need to put Marvel on ice for a decade and
Mm.
then come back because it's just how much money you willing to just throw away. And yeah, they could just do the whole thing of just having a tax write off. They can do that and then probably sell off the assets again. Um, but it's just for me, if you're gonna do this, do it right. Make sure like everything goes through a fine tooth comb, but also give, just let just hire competent people
Hmm.
and have them, just give them the freedom to be creative. None of this, well, we gotta, put our spin to it or whatever. Just tell stories, have compelling characters, have like don't have a just don't have a so massive of an interconnected universe. Sometimes you can have a movie be its own thing, but then time comes, okay, pull everything together, but not everything has to be like the the multiverse, like the whole thing in the multiverse. I hate the multiverse. It's been overdone. It's been used.
Mhm.
It's getting tiresome, and I think that it exposes a lot of lazy uh directors, producers, screenwriters, because it's like, oh well, we don't need to worry about just a plot or things to make sense. Oh, just multiverse, just kill off a character. Hey, don't worry, multiverse is like, it's just it. That's what really like irked me about the Arrowverse.
Yep.
That
I
really
knew
irked
you
me
were gonna
about.
say that.
Yeah, because I was like a diehard Arrowverse fan, and then they just hold the multiverse card. And just like, all right. I mean, I still watched it. That was when I was less cynical. Once upon a time, I was more hopeful, way less cynical, and I had way more hair. I guess the I grew with cynicism with, you know, as time went along, lose my hair. Um, but it's just seeing, just seeing just how everything uh just over the years, like the whole trope of, just uh the multiverse, the gal the galaxy. You have the threat of the galaxy, something that could threaten the whole galaxy, rather than, hey, just have something grounded for once. Like, doesn't have to be a world ending event every time. I think those should be safe for the Avengers films.
Yep.
The Avengers films should only be just galactic level events, not not this B or C level character. Like, no, like absolutely not. Things should be more grounded. Didn't mean to go on this rant, but I just hope that this will lead to, Doctor Doom. This lead to the X-Men, and then, this big, just world-ending, galaxy level threat in the next Avengers film.
Mhm.
They may have to change it because Kang. I don't know if they're gonna cast new Kang. I think they should just scrap the Kang character
Yeah,
altogether. Because
agreed. Agreed. Get
uh,
get rid of Kang. Nobody cares about Kang. Save Kang for like a later date, but just bring in Doom. People want Doom. Bring in Doom. Like just and Jonathan Majors did a good job as Kang, but you bring him into Ant-Man, and you had him lose it with the you essentially had him slip on a banana peel and lose.
yep,
So it's just nobody cares about Kang. You've done nothing with this character to make him seem like a threat. He's kind of a I don't want to say a pussy, but he's kind of an idiot when you look at it. Like I don't
yep,
really know what his motivation is as far as a villain. I knew what Thanos wanted.
yeah,
I don't know what Kang wants. So
nope,
bring in Doom. Just bring in Doom. Give the people Doom.
yep.
That's all we want.
And there was one Thanos. There
Mhm.
wasn't, I mean, if you count in the game, but it was one Thanos that they were, you that we had to unite and going after, and prevent from getting all the Infinity Stones. And we need that one like universal threat, because if you just have uh just infinite amount of Thanoses, he won't be that intimidating,
No.
because he'll be easier to beat. Like, they beat Kang how many times? Like, it's just not the way to go when it comes to, creating and writing a villain. You gotta be able to have that one big bad, and have him written well, and have a reason for being. you can't just have him all, just here chilling in the multiverse. No rhyme or reason. Just
Right.
I'm here.
You
Like,
can't.
I'm dead, and then another one
Right.
pops up. No, like it's not. It doesn't work like
Right.
that.
You can't have a villain. You can't have a villain where it's like if you're trying to explain where your favorite McDonald's is.
Yeah,
It's like, hey, let's go to the good McDonald's on 50 on 10 and 7th. It's like, but what
yeah,
about the McDonald's by our house? No, I don't like that one because that one doesn't have a good ice cream. We have to go to the other one on the other side of town. Like
yeah,
that's basically the equivalent of what Kang has been, where it's like this Kang that was in Ant-Man and the Wasp was supposed to be the I guess the main Kang, Prime Kang, but it's like
mm,
then he loses, and then you bring in another Kang on Loki, and then he loses, and then you bring in another Kang on Loki, and he just goes away. So it's like, why am I supposed to give a fuck about this character? Why am I supposed to be intimidated? If
right,
if Ant Man can beat him, if Loki can beat him, granted Loki's a god, he's more powerful than Ant Man, but just like what trouble is Sam Wilson gonna have against him? What trouble is Shuri gonna have against him? What trouble is fucking Shang-Chi gonna have against him?
right.
Nothing. So just bring in Doom. No one cares about Kang. Bring in Doom.
Yep. Um, Kang is the ice cream machine of McDonald's. Just it never works.
Nope.
It never works. And there's like a little thing I heard about that they basically, not to go on a tangent, but basically there's a company that that services these machines, and there's like a code, because it's all computers. There's a code that that the machines have to where, like, they don't work, and then they're always out, so that way McDonald's has to pay to repair people from that company of the ice cream
Mm,
machine to come in and fix it. So they're always getting profit. So when they say the ice cream is broken, BS, because it's just inherent. It's in the hardware. Is inherently in the hardware and the software to make sure that those machines are quote unquote fucked up. Um,
mhm.
and kind of like with Kang, just not working. Never works. Not gonna work. Bringing Doom. I mean, damn, I would like some ice cream, but another time. But yeah, I think overall, like, to just round us off, Pedro Pascal as um Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards. If he turns out to be, good casting and he knocks it out of the park, cool. End of the day, I'm not married, by the fact. Like, if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, oh well. I mean, I will talk about it if it doesn't work, and also we'll talk about it if it works. But I also think that they need to hit this movie out of the park, just because, like, we finally got the Fantastic Four. Like, after how many years later, we this needs to work for Marvel, for Disney, because if it doesn't, it ain't gonna be good. It's not gonna look good.
Nope.
And I I do think that obviously they're gonna introduce Doctor Doom. They're going to introduce him in this film, and maybe, I mean, the Silver Surfer and Doctor Doom in one film. Nah, that'll be overkill.
Well,
'Cause then you gotta introduce you know the Celestials, the
well,
Galactus and all that.
well. From what I heard, if Doom does come out, it'll be in like the post-credit scene,
Okay, all right,
which good. And Galactus and Silver Surfer are going to be in it, allegedly.
yeah,
And the idea that they were going to cast a woman is no more. They just announced, or not. I don't want to say they, but like the report is that they're meeting with actors to play Silver Surfer. Which, I mean, even before that, like I don't really have an attachment to the character, so them saying we're going to make it a woman is like the same thing we were talking about when they changed April O'Neil's look in the Ninja Turtles movie, I was like, I don't really have an attachment to it, but why though? But again, just it is what it is. But yeah, it's gonna be a man. So, however you look at it, I guess it's good. But yeah, just Doom doesn't need to come out in this movie except for a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
So good.
Um, I just hope the plot for this film makes sense, because if it's just some, because it's in the '60s, I don't know. I'm hoping, I am hoping that they just they don't. I hope they don't pull any shenanigans. Like none of this crap. Just, you're gonna have the movie set in the '60s. Just please, just make it make sense.
Hmm.
No messaging. Like they can't afford to do that. Literally, like Disney's getting sued like left and right. Like they cannot afford like for any more flops. They cannot, like, just stop it, Disney. Um, in which we'll talk about that in another episode. Like just all the lawsuits with Disney. Yeah, that's its own show. But yeah, I am like cautiously, like, to the 10th power optimistic with this, because I'm just not trusting. I'm just, I just don't, I just cannot blindly consume something, because you've been told all the time, hey, this is gonna be good, and then you get the bait and switch, and it's like, oh, this tastes like garbage. Like, how many times I'm gonna eat garbage and be forced like the taste of it. So I'm super cautiously optimistic.
Hmm.
So we'll see if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. End of the day, when it boils down.
All right, fair enough.
Um, there's one more thing, but I don't think we have enough time. Um,
I mean, it's X-Men. We can just breeze through it in like 3 minutes.
yeah. Okay. So the X-Men '97 trailer, we seen it.
Seen it.
Yeah, we seen it. I am, again, like, it's the same theme going on here. I'm just concerned. I'm not jumping in head first with this. Um, it was cool, like, seeing like the old TV set. Like that,
Hmm.
the whole, like, I love that. That's
Hmm.
actually, the theme, the theme playing, the
Mm.
classic,
The theme. I love that
amazing.
theme.
Yeah, it's amazing, and also, just like the whole aesthetic of the OTV set, the commercials. Like, I actually have that style on my stream, which I need to like add on to it. But I have like a TV set for when, I had to like step out, like the be right back screen, um, for my live streams on Twitch, and I have like a TV set, and then I like put the video, like the video player, like, under it. So that way it looks like, oh, like you're watching TV while I'm like using the bathroom and whatnot. So I like that aesthetic. That aesthetic
Hmm.
is pretty cool. Nostalgia, like, I'm an old school head. Like that time is really near and dear to me. But I am concerned that, again, could be another bait and switch. Like, I'll be watching, but I am concerned because, again, you can be burned so many times. Um, and I don't know. I'm just cautious. I'm like, like,
You're
I don't want to get burned.
you're waiting at the diner for the love of your life to show up that never shows up.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, love. You can find love in strange places. I mean, um, on the subway. Maybe, at a party, or maybe watching a bad superhero film. You never know. You truly never know. None of that glory hole business like that. You don't find true love there.
I mean,
Uh,
speak for yourself. Not that I would know. But uh,
but yeah,
as
what
far
are
as
your
go ahead.
thoughts? What are your
I mean, I
thoughts?
loved it obviously because I grew up on that shit and that theme. As soon as I heard that theme playing, because I was apprehensive because they it's a continuation, so it's not like they're rebooting it. They're not like putting it in the MCU. It's just a continuation of the series when it stopped, in the 90s. So I was a little apprehensive. So I'm like, all right, how are they gonna pull this off? Is it gonna be what if animation? What's it gonna be? So it's the animation from the 90s cartoon with a little bit of, a spin on it. So I'm watching the trailer, I'm like, all right, this is cool. As soon as I heard the theme going, I'm like, don't, just don't stop. Just please stop. And just everything else said because that was the one thing I was gonna be like, are they gonna fuck with the theme? Are they gonna fuck with the theme? They didn't
Yeah,
fuck with the theme. As a matter of fact, they improved the theme. Um, and one thing I didn't know, I just found this out, is that they were actually in a lawsuit with I think like a Dutch television show from like the 80s or the 90s over that theme.
mm,
There's a show that had that theme, and I mean I don't have it on me right now, but I heard it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's like the same shit. So, but I think that's why for the longest time you weren't seeing a lot of X-Men stuff from that show, but now we got it. I'm happy. Um, Seeing fucking Gambit on top of Wolverine and he's using his kinetic energy on his claws. I'm like, oh yes, please, baby, give me that, give me that, give me that and more. Okay, I need to turn this fucking notifications off. Okay. But yeah, I love the trailer. It comes out next month on March 20th. Um, I'm kind of hoping that they leave this alone. And what I mean by leave this alone is don't try to connect it to the MCU. Let it
yeah,
be its own thing. Let it be its own universe. Kind of like what DC's doing with a lot of their properties is they're not trying to connect the Joker to the DCU. They're letting the Joker be in its own universe. Elseworlds. Just do Elseworld stuff. Not everything needs to be connected.
yeah,
So, and then, just little Easter eggs of showing Peter, Spider-Man on the magazine is Spider-Man a mutant. Maybe if this does well, and I can't imagine it won't, is maybe you can continue the Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s.
yeah,
Maybe you can do that Daredevil series that almost happened but didn't happen. Um, and just again, I'm amazed by the cavalcade of people that say, oh, they made the X-Men woke. I'm like, yeah, the X-Men was made during the fucking civil rights era, you dipshit. So I don't want to give those people the time of day, but I'm looking forward to this. I love it. I think this is what we need. Good palette clans, X-Men, and fucking Deadpool. Just you need your heavy hitters. This is what we need. I can't wait. Um, I've been on an X-Men binge. I've been rewatching the 90s cartoon and reading X-Men comics. Currently, I'm on the Astonishing X-Men. So I can't wait. Um, oh god, and I Rogue losing her ass. That's kind of what I'm mad about. Like, why get rid of all that? And just I know a lot of people were kind of poo pooing about the actor who voiced Wolverine that he doesn't really sound like Wolverine. And I'm like, well, it was like one scene, and he's also not exactly young anymore. So, but then again, it's just one scene from a trailer. For all we know, that's maybe the best they can put out at the moment.
yeah,
So, but yeah, just that and Rogue losing her ass. Like, I will not stand for it.
yeah. That is a sacrilege because, and I was thinking about this with the animation, like just based on what we've seen from in the 90s to what we have now, like you would think that, hey, like just more emphasis on curves, like have women having curves isn't a sin. Like you want, like, you want curves on a woman. Last time I checked, it's completely fine. It's completely normal for animated character, and she's not like a little child, because that's like the other thing I've been seeing on Twitter. People saying even like if you like fit women, then it's, I don't want to say because it's just like just really retarded how people are trying to cope that, hey, uh maybe you need to go out and lose some weight instead of trying to demonize people for having taste, certain taste and preference in women, because it's fine. It's totally fine for people to have, like, for women to have curves, for men to like curves. We all love Nikita Lyons. She has curves for days.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong. All these women that we see on TV, there's a reason why they're appealing, is because of their sex appeal. Doesn't mean that they're just a piece of meat, but that means that, hey, they look good, they're easy on the eyes. Let's move on. But it is telling that like it kind of shows that the animation is kind of is not good. Like, you will think that in 2024 the animation would be like much more crisp. It's 2024. Like, and this and the X-Men, original X-Men animated series came out in the 90s, and it's much more detailed. And I noticed that that's like one thing I noticed, that the cartoons from, in the 90s and the early 2000s, much more refined, the lines, more details, the colors, they're vibrant, they're popping, um just the attention to detail. Now we're just getting just just flat as a board, like literally just flat as a pancake. And that's not good, because you will think that, hey, this this you should not be getting. um but it just goes to show, it just goes to show where Marvel has their head, where they're at mentally with this. That's why I'm the wait and see type of guy, but this is not good. Just like one of the first things not the first thing you see, but one of the things you see. I'm just cautiously optimistic with everything, because you just truly just never know that you could be bait and switched again. And I'm not falling for it. I'm just like with G4. Like, I almost fell for that. I was like, yeah, excuse me, G4 is back, and then, oh, yeah, no, it's not back. Like, it just it was terrible. So I'm very cautious about, nostalgia, because it's easy to get tripped up on the nostalgia train. As someone that takes that train every so often, I'm just very cautious. It could be good. I'm hoping it's good, because it's awesome, an awesome series. I'm just making sure that I don't get, bamboozled.
No, I get you. And also to kind of close it off, as far as the nostalgia thing goes, I think in this case, yeah, it's nostalgia definitely, but it's not like Spider-Man No Way Home or any of the other recent movies where it's just like, hey, remember this? Whereas like No Way Home was, they added those characters in as like supporting characters and there was a story to it. But in the way you look at it, it was nostalgia and it was um fan service.
But
But
they did it
fan service,
right.
yeah,
They did
yeah,
it
fan
right.
service done right. But like other shit that's been out since like, after that, the Flash was fan service, everything else was fan service. In this case, it's nostalgia, but it's also a continuation of another story. So yeah, that's just kind of how I look at it. But yeah, it's just I'm always waiting. I'm always very wait and see. Even if for things that I like, I'm always wait and see because I could be, like you said, bamboozled, and I can just going and I'm watching a completely different movie or a TV show than I thought I was going to watch. And then
Yeah,
I'm like, it ends up being just either meh or bad. Hopefully, this is none of those things. Hopefully, so
yeah. I'm
fingers crossed.
hoping for that too. I'm hoping that we just get something good. Just Marvel going back to like to their roots, because just the constant just the constant flops and them just ignoring like the whole, and I want to talk about this like another time because like we're short on time, but the whole the DEI, diversity inclusion, the diversity inclusion, and what's the other, equity, it's killing entertainment. It's killing entertainment. It's killing creativity, all for the sake of just checking boxes. And I'm not a fan of that. And I'm saying this as half half black, half Latino. I
Mhm.
just don't care about checking boxes. Just put out good content, tell good stories, or in this case, you know, through animation, live action, what have you. Just just do that. Because at the end of the day, I don't care what boxes you need to check. It's just irrelevant. If you're just gonna self insert yourself into a series like Velma, like that's big example. Then
Mhm.
I'm not gonna have no time for it. And then if they dare to demonize like me and you and fans that enjoy this stuff and say, well, that was from a bygone era, like we this is for modern audiences, and if you don't like it, then something's the matter with you. That is the most disrespectful, asinine, tone deaf thing that could be said. um it, it 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 definitely is, just because of the fact that you're not listening to your customers. You're knowingly putting out garbage, and if we dare critique anything, we're the ones that were in the wrong. And
Mhm.
I've heard that so many times through all this, and it definitely started with Captain Marvel, like all that garbage. And to me, it's just a lot of people just focusing on the handful of people that just want to be try hard, rather than, hey, not like not to say that something's bad, but hey, maybe the things could have been done a certain way, blah blah blah. But you kind of see that in wrestling. Just certain people, they concentrate on the small segment of trolls. But I just don't have the time to be lectured. I just want good entertainment. Just watch it, enjoy it, absorb into my being, inject it to my veins, and then once it's done, okay, go back to real life. I don't want to have to deal with real life in my cartoons or my movies,
Yeah.
TV shows, what have you.
Yeah.
Um,
Real life sucks.
yeah, it sucks. And again, when this came out, we were young and we thought, oh, the world is awesome, it's amazing. And then when you get older, it's like, oh, it's not. It's
It's
not
like
as good as we thought.
it's like there's no longer two genders. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's it's a whole smorgasbord. Like just pick pick whatever gender you want to be in that particular day, and then
It's like that meme of like people from 1952. Hey, I wonder if there's going to be flying cars in the future.
yep,
To present, it's hey, I think this syrup tastes racist.
yep. And I will never forgive them for getting rid of Aunt Jemima. Aunt Jemima
Uh,
was the goat. I
it's
don't
like
care. Like the milling, what was it called? The milling company. I was at the grocery store a while back with my mother, and I was like, milling company, the fuck? Like I didn't curse, obviously. I don't swear in front of my mom, but I was like, what the
right.
hell is this? Like where's Aunt Jemima? Like I grew up on Aunt Jemima. I grew up on Uncle Ben's. I grew up on Delano Lake's butter with the Indian. I grew up with that. now it's like, oh no, we just get rid of it because it's um it's insensitive to cultures. Meanwhile, it's it's
Meanwhile, the actual like culture that the people are a part of aren't complaining. It's the white people.
yeah, it's just like,
Yeah,
dude, like yeah, like people like we don't care. Like it's like oh cool. Like I see Uncle Ben. I know the product just based on the faces on the packaging. Now it's like, oh, just another generic brand. Oh, toss in the trash. Oh well. But
yeah.
yeah, a lot
It's
of
like
times
the
we don't care. Yeah.
like the Redskins, for example. Like they're like, oh, it's a racist name, and like actual Native Americans in the world and living in DC are like, we didn't find that offensive.
They don't care. Like there's like, oh, okay.
Actually, I think they want. I think they're trying to sue the NFL because the logo for the Redskins represented a important chief in Native American history.
Mm,
So it's just like, and of course, white people are like, "That's offensive. I'm never saying that again." It's like Native Americans are like, ah.
it's okay.
So it's okay. You don't have to watch football. Just fuck off. But
Yeah.
just I'm thinking slowly by slowly, like a lot of that culture is kind of going away. Of like everything's offensive. Fuck this, because now people are tired of being lectured. People are tired of watching things that they liked. And again, that South Park episode of let's put a woman in it and make it gay and lame.
Yeah.
I hate politics. I don't watch sports, for politics. I don't, wrestling I think is the only safe haven that hasn't given into, what would you say, DEI or whatever the fuck it's called?
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Right.
Yep.
You don't see fell outrage of like, why isn't the world champion transgendered? It's like because there's no transgendered wrestlers. I mean, there are, but there's like very few,
Yep.
and none of them are going to draw money. It's like that's because you're transphobic, and it's like no, because we want to make money.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like the only business that hasn't given into that kind of culture. But I don't know. That's another conversation for another show.
Oh yeah. Definitely another conversation for another day, another episode, another time. But unfortunately our time has ended. Um final thoughts on just final thoughts on everything, like really quick. Let's
Mm.
see. My final thoughts. Again, I just hope that when it boils down to just to entertainment, that it's starting to turn the tide. But I really hope that things, keep going, they keep pushing. And I just want to be entertained. Like I just want to have that bit of just that block during my day or during my off period where I can just enjoy. I could just have fun, watch offensive stuff, and not worry about like, oh, I'm offended. I mean, me personally, I don't care. I watch anything like comedy is subjective, anything in the entertainment realm. Like I I'm in that vein that if it's not funny to you or if it's offensive to you, don't watch it. Don't don't force me to feel how you feel about stuff that you don't like. Because at the end of the day, it's suggestive. Anything that
Mm.
I may like, you may not like. So I just hope that with the X-Men, with Deadpool, with Fantastic Four, I hope all these are good. I'm praying, I'm begging, I I mean, I'm not gonna give my blood, that's too far. But I just want these things to be good. I just want these things to be good so that way we could just talk about how great this shit is. Cause I just hate complaining about how shit everything is. Like life is
Mhm.
shit. Like at least, hey, X-Men, great show, like cool, awesome. But I mean, we'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell, Drew.
Exactly. I just, I want everything to be good, and I want people to stop being cunts.
Yes, that's we can all agree to that. We can all toast to that.
Mhm.
Um, again, that's it. End of the show. Out of time. Um, uh, Again, Drew. Awesome show. Um,
Mhm.
we'll do this. I mean, damn, it is. I mean, we'll talk when we're gonna do the next show.
As well.
But definitely, I enjoyed the time we had here. A little over 2 hours. It's fine. It's fine. We're having good conversation. Minus the dog barking, but we'll you know,
Yeah, don't worry about
and we can't help, can't be helped. But great conversation as always. Again, people can find me on Twitter now, X, Mr. Ruben Prime. Again on X at Mr. Ruben Prime, and I am on Twitch. If you wanna watch me play retro games and just talk about entertainment and culture and just chill and wrestling. I do just while I'm gaming, I'll have conversations. Definitely check me out on there. I play a lot of retro games. I'm playing a couple of new games. I am playing started playing Mario Wonder like on stream and Power World. I'm also playing a bunch of old stuff. So if you think that's your flavor, uh definitely check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/RubenPrimeTV. And again, $5 a month, people. $5 a month gets you us in your ear, and not only me, but everyone in the expanded universe that is the experience, the Drew Yari experience.
And this won't be a lame universe, lame multiverse. So
Yeah.
there's no variants of me and Ruben. There's no variants of Jeff. There's no variants of RJ. There's no variants of Monty. It's just us.
just
Just
us.
us. And it's just us guys. No women, which we don't have anything against women. We love women. But yeah, it's like the little rascals. No girls allowed. No girls allowed on the pirate ship. But yeah,
Yeah.
just $5 a month gets you what you're hearing now. Culture Attack with Ruben. Uh, Savage Nerds that I do with RJ, which we've been doing that a little bit more frequently. Kind of like this show, more bi-weekly, every other Wednesday. And I I'm actually doing the Patreon show with Jeff tomorrow, so we haven't done that in a while. And
Okay.
then the Wednesday show, which is free, on the Wrestling Soup Discord with Justin. The experience where we just talk mainly about wrestling. And I found out we're on the top 50 Apple wrestling list for podcasts in the US. We're number 163. 163, baby.
Congrats.
Hell yeah.
Congrats.
And that's below Colt Cabana.
Oh,
So
oh.
fucking Colt Cabana, I'm coming for you, bitch. Fucking got your fucking throat out. No, but anyways, yeah. So you know where to find me, you know where to find Ruben. We're easy people to find.
Definitely easy people to find. I mean, if you want to find me, cool. We can chat. We can don't be weird. But definitely again check out the experience. Definitely check out the Patreon. Again, $5. A lot of value considering we're dealing with inflation. Um, few things that there's a few things that you can get your value from just with $5. So that's definitely a good thing. Do appreciate that. And yeah, I guess that is all she wrote. And we will see you guys next time very soon, Lord
Mhm.
willing, right here on the Patreon. And thank you for listening to another episode of Culture Attack.
Peace.
Peace. Peace.